There's nothing good about the morning, but good morning. I am sipping on my iced coffee. I got an iced Spanish latte from Dunkin', which is my new favorite place. I know it's revolutionary, but I just realized that it's slightly more affordable and they have pretty good breakfast items, so that's that. I I'm supposed to start work in a few hours, and I promised myself I wouldn't get pulled into it before then, but I saw this. I just glanced at my to-do list, and there was this one item that immediately gave me anxiety. And for me, one of the most challenging things has been to not talk about anxiety and not think about anxiety, because that just makes me more anxious. So to like compartmentalize the things that make me anxious and the thoughts that make me anxious has been so hard, because it's like it just gives it more power if I start preempting things, and I don't want to do that anymore, or I want to try and control it as much as I can. Obviously there are days where I just cannot, and that whole day is pretty much gone, sometimes more than a day, but I want to improve that. And I want to be in a place where I can contain it as much as possible. And I desperately tried to this morning, but I feel like I'm failing. Anyway, I heard this thing that was about how, like, at points in our lives we seek self-improvement content because we want to figure out like that secret sauce that helps us be better, and we believe it's out there and that some people have cracked it. But actually part of growing up is realizing that no one has really figured that part out, and kind of accepting that. Because okay, this looks totally funny with the straw just sticking out, but that is part of being an adult, is finally accepting that no one really has it fully figured out. Like, no matter how old you are, you're going to feel anxious and you're going to feel stressed and you're going to feel sad at some point and depressed. And I guess what gets easier is that you accept that and you realize that you stop going after that secret recipe to like overcoming all these things. I sound a bit defeatist, and I don't mean to say that you'll never overcome them. Like, you'll never get better at managing your anxiety or your depression, but that's not really what I mean. What I mean is that I think part of getting better is accepting that some of these feelings will be there and you won't be able to fully get them out of your life, but rather with that acceptance, you stop chasing this like elusive goal of fully getting rid of them, but rather you start to have like systems in place to get better at coping with them. That's what I'm trying to say. And I think that is why I will not be consuming a lot of self-help content anymore, and I'll make room for more creative things, I hope, because I realize that's a lot of bullshit and it's a lot of repetition, and it's a lot of like, you can get the gist of what they're saying from the book title, and it's just a waste of time because even the authors themselves probably haven't cracked the code and completely gotten rid of everything. Like, I would much rather read a memoir or like someone's personal experience coping with something. And I say coping, not overcoming, very purposely here, because I don't think you can overcome things like anxiety. I think they'll always come back in different forms unless you completely don't challenge yourself and you completely just stay isolated basically from whatever gives you that feeling. which isn't very realistic because I feel like it just can grow and latch onto something else and manifest itself into something else. So, for example, I currently face a lot of anxiety from work. If I were to quit my job and pursue a different job, I'd probably still feel anxious about things in that job, unless it's completely unchallenging. But even then, I feel like it morphs and like adapts to what you're currently experiencing. It is like a sophisticated virus. But yeah, like, and let's say if I were to quit and not work for a while, I would feel anxious about other things that I end up doing, like other activities or other pursuits. Like, I'd feel anxious about making money, or I'd feel anxious about, being on my own and my identity outside of work. Like, I know myself. And so it's not so much getting to the root cause of it. It's more just accepting that it's part of life and that it's adaptable, and that the only way through it is really exposure therapy to the thing that you're experiencing, and trying to do it over and over again so that it loses its power, but also accepting that once you stop being as anxious about this specific thing, then most likely that virus will upgrade and it will manifest in like the next challenging thing, and it's kind of a vicious cycle. But yeah, so that's what I'm processing today. Anyway, I'm logging off. I'm going to enjoy my iced latte and then I guess get back to work.